the next session is also in English, From Prompt to Practice, as announced, and it's about global perspectives on data literacy. And it will explore how universities are integrating AI and data literacy into teaching. And the beautiful thing about this is that it's not just theoretically or thinking about how could we do these things. It's actually drawing on case studies from 7 countries to highlight strategies for ethical and inclusive implementation. And it builds on insights from the DAAD-funded project HAW Resilient at HAW Hamburg, focused on internationalization and digitalization. And we have 3 amazing speakers, 2 in person, 1 online. I start with Tessa Taefi, who's joining us online. Tessa, you are an interdisciplinary researcher focused on technology, sustainability, and innovation. And you co-lead the Competence Center for Renewable Energies at HAW Hamburg. And you serve as the Vice Dean for International Exchange. With a background in electrical engineering and a doctorate in the social science, you're also a professor now in IT, exploring AI in international teaching contexts. Amazing. I always feel I don't do justice to the amazing biographies of the speakers that join us here. Li Lu is a project manager at HAW Hamburg and a legal researcher specializing in comparative law, education, innovation, and international collaboration. She holds an LLM from Cornell and is pursuing a PhD in international law at the University of Cologne. And she brings experience from institutions like TU Berlin here and the University of Bergen. And it's wonderful. You can just come up the stage and join me. We also have Divakaran Reddy. He's a chartered accountant with over 25 years of leadership experience, including senior roles at IBM. And he now serves as a senior academic lecturer at Durban University of Technology, focusing on teaching and research while also pursuing a PhD in accounting. And his work connects professional practice with academic advancement. It would be my interpretation of your biography. Right. Wonderful to have you, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Goeiemorgen, guten Tag, dumelang, sawubona, namaste. I can go on, and I'll explain later why. In 1964, Arthur C. Clarke prophetically suggested that the most intelligent inhabitants of our future world would not be mankind. Rather, he believed that they would be the remote descendants of computers of his time. He also envisioned that computers would have the capacity to outthink mankind in the future, but he also believed that the human intellect had huge, vast potential. Several decades later, in the early 2000s, Ray Kurzweil, the futurist, prophesied that artificial intelligence would exceed human intelligence by 2029. And by 2045, we would have reached a point of technological singularity, where machine intelligence would exceed human intelligence by 1 billion-fold. Well, we now know that Kurzweil's estimates were somewhat conservative. In many ways, artificial intelligence has exceeded human capabilities in key domains, such as data processing, pattern recognition, and content generation. From an educationalist perspective, this rapid evolution of AI now presents an existentialist challenge, right? With the purpose and the role of educators are being fundamentally redefined, with AI's ability to instantly access vast amounts of data, generate learning content, and respond to student queries in a speedily, prompt, and accurate manner. The traditional hierarchies of knowledge, dissemination, and consumption are being disrupted. The challenge before us is no longer whether to integrate teaching AI into teaching and learning, but how to do so in a meaningful and ethical manner. Thank you. Tessa, please.
Right. So at many higher education institutes, scalable AI framework for teaching is yet missing. And many of us have discussed over the past months, like how do AI tools drive pedagogical transformation and what are the chances and challenges? And this is an ongoing topic, of course, here at the UFF as well. At HAW Hamburg, we were lucky to have a good European network and also an internationalization project, the HAW Resilient, which is funded by the DAAD, so the German Academic Exchange Service. And so we were also able to discuss the question, how do international collaboration and how can that address these changes and challenges that we are looking into by using AI tools. So what we did is we called for an online workshop at the end of last year, and we invited educators and researchers from 7 countries. There were the US, China, South Africa, and then in Europe, Finland, Spain, and Netherlands and Germany. And we asked them these questions, and we compiled the results, and these are the use cases that we want to present to you today. So the first use case on the next page would be from the US. And here Jonathan Pham from the California State University of Long Beach presented that basically implementing AI tools and using AI tools feels a bit like a balancing act. Because on the one hand, teachers want students to master the subject. But if then we would just ignore the existence of LLMs, which are large language models, basically like ChatGPT or many others, the students would probably take whatever task the teacher would give them in a PDF, upload it, and tell the LLM, hey, go compile me the result as a PDF and hand it back in. So actually this also happens at our university, and the results are really perfect for just lab reports or so. So in that way, students would not master the subject. But if we forbid the use of such language models, basically students would still use them. So that would trigger academic dishonesty. And also another problem, because we want them to interact and learn how to use those models. And on the same scale, to also develop a moral compass and to understand and then be able to use such tools later in the industry. So the hack that Jonathan came up with is basically when he generates the tasks in this PDF document with a human readable text in black letters, he also embeds information to the LLM in white letters on a white ground. So it's not human readable, but the LLM will catch it. And then wherever the document is fed into, the students would get a disclaimer first, like, okay, I am an AI tool, I can assist you on solving the task, but basically I cannot build your understanding. And in order to build the understanding, probably do these and these and these steps. So there's a kind of support, but it's not like solving everything. I really love this little life hack, but I fear that students will understand and learn that very fast. But still, hopefully, maybe that's something to try out. In Spain, which is the next example, Jordi Linares from the University Politécnica de Valencia, he works at a research center. So they look into immersive and personalized learning supported by AI. And this means they explore both. They explore personalized dynamic AI tutors and multimodal immersive learning at the same time. So the AI tutors they develop, they should not only just deliver content, but evolve with students and adjust their communication style, pace, and the depth of the info in real time. So then implementing such tutors into extended reality environments lead could lead to following two scenarios. We could have virtual labs brought into the classroom, or even virtual worlds brought into the classroom, and then have the teacher more act like a guide that focuses on details, which then would be generated by just the natural language of the teacher in real time in this virtual reality environment. So the students could, for example, go and discuss with Socrates in an ancient Greek setting. However, this would mean the role of the teacher would, well, dramatically change. On the other hand, it's also possible that the world becomes the classroom. So we don't need to sit in this classroom anymore at all times, but explore with augmented reality what is all around us, which spurs the interest and the want to learn by humans, and then provide the information and then discuss with this information. So mainly the bottom line of Jordi was teaching will dramatically change, the role of the teacher will dramatically change, and we would look into critical thinking, just as we have heard in the task in the speech before here, and it would be more guidance, but then at the same time also the examination forms would need to change. So that's another trait of discussion. And we will probably hear more of that in the next examples.
Thank you, Tessa. Thank you for presenting the teaching practice in Spain and US. And let's imagine a classroom where AI adapts to each student's needs. Sounds futuristic, right? Actually, it's happening now in quite a few countries, including China. Take Tsinghua GLM4 model, for example, which personalizes learning using 100 billion parameters. It's not just about information, it's about crafting a personalized education journey. What would you think if a virtual tutor knows exactly what you need to learn next? Look at Peking's University virtual laboratory for medical students, immersing students with hands-on learning without any risks, making learning incredibly interactive. And we have Beihang University. Students can access AI tutoring around the clock. Imagine the potential. Education that evolves with you, adapting to all your needs and pace. It's not about learning facts, it's about experiencing knowledge, right? But there are still challenges ahead. One big question would be, who controls the data? We know different countries have different rules, and that can make things complicated. Plus, some regions have far more computing power than others, making an uneven playing field. Another big issue, I would say, would be culture. When we apply different educational AI tools, we must respect the differences, because we know what works in one country may not fit another. That's why international collaboration is more important than ever. Initiatives like Sino-German culture studies help bridge gaps, and global efforts that are working towards common policy to ensure AI is used responsibly and ethically in higher education. It's about working together, not competing. I want to emphasize this, because AI should serve everyone, no matter where we live. So when we approach China's model, the future of learning, I would say, is not just about tech. It's about creating a world where every student thrives. Ready to embrace Finland's approach to this cultural revolution? First, at the national level, all Finnish universities of applied sciences have adopted a shared framework to use AI in higher education. At the core of this framework is so-called arena traffic light model. It's a simple but very powerful system with 4 clear categories. You see the colors here. Blue means required, so AI must be used, and students must report how they use it. Red, very simple, prohibited. AI must not be used. Students should work on their own. Orange is reported. AI use is allowed, but you need to report. And green, of course, everyone loves it. AI use is allowed, and freely, we can use it freely without any necessary reporting. And this system actually gives clear guidance to both teachers and students. And it helps us to save time, avoid confusion, and also reduce false accusation of like plagiarism, fraud. And why is this important? We know in Scandinavian countries, trust is everything. This helps build trust. Students and teachers will very easy to know when and how when they use AI. So it's really a clear guidance. More importantly, this approach actually supports data literacy and treats AI as a valuable tool that could help students prepare for the future work. So we see here Finland's vision of preparing students, not just for exams, but for real life. Okay, let's shift our gears to Germany, which I think most of our audience knows much better than I do. So I will keep this short. And German universities lay the foundation for, I would say, for AI integration by prioritizing strong data literacy. To take our Hamburg University of Applied Sciences, for example, students are taught that understanding and managing data are the key before working with AI. Think of it as a learning new language, right? We wouldn't jump into complex conversation without first mastering the basics. And the slide highlights actually the essential competence, such as identifying data, using data, managing data, community data effectively in higher education. The focus here isn't just on using AI tools, but on training AI models, analyzing the results, and also making informed decisions. By embedding AI literacy into education, Germany ensures, I would say, future professionals to be well equipped in data-rich environments, responsibly and ethically. Next up, we'll take a look at South Africa's approach to AI in education.
South Africa's higher education system operates within a complex and multifaceted environment. It's been shaped by the socio-political legacy of apartheid and the ongoing transformation of the national economy. My country is a country of stark contrasts, where Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolls-Royces, Porsches share the streets with the homeless who are begging on every street corner. This highlights the vast socio-economic divide that still persists. Yet, amidst these realities, South Africa's beauty is reflected in its people, its landscape, our vast oceans, and our culture. So, I am based at the Durban University of Technology, which is located in Durban, a coastal city which is approximately 2.5 times the size of Berlin. My university has its roots in serving the previously disadvantaged communities, which means that most of the students who come to my university are really first-generation students. In other words, they are the first in their families to graduate. Therefore, our graduations are grand ceremonies, where grand celebratory events, in fact, where students, some of them, dress up in traditional Zulu attire, and they strut across the stage performing the Ubasinga or the Ubagita, which is actually a war dance. And it could be likened to the haka performed by the New Zealand rugby team. Now, when I first greeted you, I greeted you in about 5 or 6 ways. But South Africa is a very linguistically diverse country. In fact, we have 11 official languages. However, English remains the medium of instruction, even though most of our students, it's the second or even the third language for them. And this highlights both linguistic and pedagogical challenges which we as lecturers need to actually come to grips with. Amongst dealing with an under-resourced secondary education system and trying to bridge it to a more advanced tertiary education system. As many of our students come from a previously disadvantaged background, access to computers or even data literacy is not taken for granted. Moreover, the classroom itself is a microcosm of the broader society, reflecting a wide array of socio-cultural background that educators must approach carefully and integrate into their teaching and learning. So, despite these systemic hurdles, which there are many, South African educators have risen to the challenge, right? With resilience and innovation, we navigate through these difficult issues, but we also proactively have been embracing technologies, such as artificial intelligence, as part of our evolving educational landscape. So, as South Africa, although we don't have a national strategy, and I think it may even be a better approach because we rather test everything first and then we can implement a national strategy. So we've already started integrating it in pockets throughout all our universities and really to enhance pedagogical transformation, data literacy, and student engagement. So South African universities are using tools such as ChatGPT, Gemini, purely from a cost basis because GPT and Gemini are still reasonably cheap. It's about $20 US. And we are using it to enhance skills such as critical thinking. In law, for example, they are using ChatGPT to analyze case studies. And then, so they analyze the court case studies and then they predict the outcome. And then students run a parallel exercise where they evaluate their results. So it exercises independent critical thought, right? We're also using AI to analyze court cases, legislation, generate contracts, etc. Right? At DUT, my university, we've approached AI in a holistic manner. We've created pragmatic frameworks which actually guide a lecturer on how they could integrate AI into their teaching and learning. In my department, for example, so I'm in auditing and taxation, we actually use AI to generate and personalize learning material, right? And this links back to the earlier discussion that I raised about the multicultural socio-dynamics of a classroom. So for us, it's critically important that we are able to generate learning material which is tailored towards our individual students. Another thing that we are actually using is that we are actually using, piloting in fact, ChatGPT to actually assess students. So we've had mixed results. Sometimes the results are very good, but I anticipate, obviously this is a now statement, right? So in 2 years' time, even a year's time, it'll be a different story. The system will get much more accurate. And the unique thing and the interesting thing is that we are actually using ChatGPT and we're prompting it to say, please identify if the student has actually used ChatGPT or other tools to generate the answer. And it does pick it up. So, it's becoming a more critical, indispensable tool to how we do business. Of course, there are several challenges relating to the adoption of AI in the South African landscape, and this really relates to aligning the curriculum of teachers to adopt AI in teaching. Educators do need training. It is an advanced skill set which they need to acquire. And of course, there are ethical concerns relating to the data generated by AI. Also, data bias is also a fundamental problem as well. However, we do anticipate that there are still huge opportunities to use AI in gamification, AI-driven assessments, and virtual learning. And in fact, we've already started piloting that at our institution. We've created accounting labs with virtual headsets, and we're busy compiling the data so we can actually take students on a virtual stock take. Because in accounting and auditing, that's one of the critical tasks that we need to implement to verify the asset base. And it's not always easily to actually transport close to 500 students to a practical location for them to actually experience what a stock take is, right? So yes, it's really become almost critical in our experience. From a Dutch point of view, it's similar to the rest of Europe, but the only point that I'd like to highlight really is that they have also adopted a very holistic approach to AI, and they are focusing on continuous assessment. So in that continuum, they then slowly begin to introduce AI and focus on the learning outcomes. So I'm going to conclude on just pedagogical transformation. So to conclude on transformation, it's clear that globally countries are focusing on 5 key categories of AI integration in education, right? And from our discussions, from what I've said, and from what Lee and Professor Tessa has said, it is evident that transformation in the education sector is not only necessary, but inevitable, right? And it's driven by technological advances, more importantly, shifting learner needs and evolving societal expectations. One very critical factor that we need to prepare for today is the imminent arrival of a new cohort of students, right? And that's Gen Alpha. If you thought Gen Z was bad, let's see what happens now, right? I know my daughter's Gen Z, and I just can't come to grips with the way they think and approach everything. So these students will bring a distinct set of values, behaviors, and learning preferences. They would be born into a world which is saturated with technology. And in many ways, AI would be part of their world as such. And accordingly, they're likely to gravitate towards AI-driven learning experiences that incorporate gamification, interactivity, and instant feedback.
As we reflect on the global integration of AI in higher education, we've seen a clear tension between great opportunities and pressing challenges. Due to time constraint, I just want to highlight the opportunities is there, but it comes with responsibility. If used wisely, AI can support but not replace critical thinking, creativity, human connection. So the real goal isn't just using AI tools, it's helping students understand, question, and build with AI.
Well, finally, we have seen there are still many challenges of using AI in teaching in higher education, and that is improving data literacy, applying students to apply critical thinking, and probably identifying bias in models and the output of models. So what we found or are looking into is how international collaborative online collaboration can help with these issues. So because imagine we have students from South Africa, China, and Germany collaborating together on and discussing sustainable energy solutions for their countries. So in China, the model would probably output, well, use PV networks. In Germany, it would be like more in the north of Germany, use wind energy. And the main problem is not overloading the grid. In South Africa, we have probably island solutions which need to be applied due to the infrastructure. So catching bias, changing perspectives, collaborating and reflection, there might be a big chance in using internationalization and COIL, collaborative online international learning, to use AI tools and integrate them in teaching. Right. I have to wrap up. Finally, Space Odyssey might have been a bit of a snooze fest, but what we are venturing into now is nothing but. And integrating AI tools in higher education isn't science fiction. It's happening right now. It's happening in real time. And unlike hell, we actually want the systems to work with us. So let's buckle up, embrace the challenge, teach, experiment, and go where no class has been done before.